all those who call on his name. He blesses with all that they need. Give to the Lord all the glory. Give to him all he is due. Worship the Lord in splendor. Worship in spirit and truth. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty word. Spread it among the nations. The Lord is the one who reigns. The heavens rejoice, the whole earth is glad at the sounding of his holy name. Through creatures that fill the oceans, through all of the beasts of the field, through trees and the mighty mountains, his majesty is revealed. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty words. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty words. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. Spread it among the nations. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty words. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. Marvelous are all his deeds. He blesses all those who call on his name. He blesses with all that they need. Give to the Lord all the glory. Give to him all he is due. Worship the Lord in splendor. Worship in spirit and truth. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty word. Spread it among the nations. The Lord is the one who reigns. The heavens rejoice, the whole earth is glad at the sounding of his holy name. Through creatures that fill the oceans, through all of the beasts of the field, through trees and the mighty mountains, his majesty is revealed. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing the Lord, bring praise to his name, sing of his mighty works. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise, marvelous are all his deeds. He blesses all those who call on his name, he blesses with all that they need. Give to the Lord all the glory, give to him all he is due. Worship the Lord in splendor, worship in spirit and truth. Sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name, sing of his mighty works. Spread it among the nations, the Lord is the one who reigns. The heavens rejoice, the whole earth is glad at the sounding of his holy name. Through creatures that fill the oceans, through all of the beasts of the field, through trees and the mighty mountains, his majesty is revealed. Sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name, sing of his mighty works. Sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name, sing of his mighty works. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. Spread it among the nations. Sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name, sing of his mighty works. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise, marvelous are all his deeds. He blesses all those who call on his name, he blesses with all that they need. Give to the Lord all the glory, give to him all he is due. Worship the Lord in splendor, worship in spirit and truth. Sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name, sing of his mighty works. Spread it among the nations, the Lord is the one who reigns. The heavens rejoice, the whole earth is glad at the sounding of his holy name. through creatures that fill the oceans, through all of the beasts of the field, through trees and the mighty mountains, His majesty is revealed. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to His name. Sing of His mighty works. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to His name. Sing of His mighty works. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. Spread it among the nations. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to His name. Sing of His mighty works. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. Marvelous are all His deeds. He blesses all those who call on His name. He blesses with all that they need. Give to the Lord all the glory. Give to Him all He is due. Worship the Lord in splendor. Worship in spirit and truth. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to His name. Sing of His mighty works. Spread it among the nations. The Lord is the one who reigns. The heavens rejoice, the whole earth is glad at the sounding of His holy name. Through creatures that fill the oceans, through all of the beasts of the field, through trees and the mighty mountains, His majesty is revealed. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to His name. Sing of His mighty works. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to His name. Marvelous are all his deeds. He blesses all those who call on his name. He blesses with all that they need. Give to the Lord all the glory. Give to him all he is due. Worship the Lord in splendor. Worship in spirit and truth. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty word. Spread it among the nations. The Lord is the one who reigns. The heavens rejoice, the whole earth is glad at the sounding of his holy name. Through creatures that fill the oceans, through all of the beasts of the field, through trees and the mighty mountains, his majesty is revealed. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty words. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty words. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. Spread it among the nations. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty words. Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. Marvelous are all his deeds. He blesses all those who call on his name. He blesses with all that they need. Give to the Lord all the glory. Give to him all he is due. Worship the Lord in splendor. Worship in spirit and truth. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bring praise to his name. Sing of his mighty word. Spread it among the nations. The Lord is the one who reigns. The heavens rejoice, the whole earth is glad at the sounding of his holy name. Through creatures that fill the oceans, through all of the beasts of the field, through trees and the mighty mountains, his majesty is revealed.
y'all for letting me come attend. When that recently? What's the name again, sir? I used to work at the casino. That's good. That's good.
Those who very, excuse me,
Maybe. Are we on? Not yet, but we will be. The magic man is coming to the microphone machine. Thank you, sir. That's more better? Good. We're very informal on Wednesday night. The microphone is there. You can interrupt, make comments, or question anytime you feel like it. We're allowed shoe throwing, coffee cup throwing, whenever you're upset with something I say. Do whatever you feel like doing. We don't get offended here. Okay, we're in the book of Daniel, chapter 17. Huh? Oh. Well, because I want to see how many people are paying attention, one, and how many people have any idea how many chapters there are in the book of Daniel. I want to see if anybody ever read the book. I read it once. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to turn y'all off for a while so I can see my book. Oh. Bye. Oh, thought she was leaving. Chapter 8, just for your own edification, the book of Daniel is written in two languages. Well, it's written in more than that now because the Bible's all over the place. Originally written in two languages, Greek, the first 7 chapters, and Hebrew, the rest of it, which is probably what saved it from being discarded by the Jews at the Council of Jamnia when they took all the Greek literature out of their Bible, which is why we don't have the 7 books that the Catholics do in their Bible. Well, I told you all that already. Anyway, this is the chapter starts in the Hebrew language. Interestingly enough, if you're interested in that fact, I don't know. Verse 1, in the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar. You remember him? Remember chapter 5? The hand writing on the wall and get Daniel to come. What does it say? What does it say? It says, you up the creek, Belshazzar. If you wonder for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for you. So this was, like I said, this is not a chronological book by any stretch of the imagination. So I love the way the Old Testament is written, because if you don't catch these little nuances, you miss little things that are really important, because your mind is thinking in one era when the scriptures actually speaking about an era that might be many years in the future or the past, which has a lot to do with what's being said. I'll get into those kind of crazy things. So anyway, God bless you. In that 3rd year of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared to me, Daniel. Well, he was emphatic about that, huh? After the one that appeared to me the first time. Okay? And of course, I said the 3rd angel. This is the 3rd year of Belshazzar was 661 BC, in case you're interested in that. 2 years after his original vision in 553 BC. That's the one we had in chapter 7. Okay? This was 12 years before the Medes and the Persians conquered Babylon. To give you an idea of the chronology of what happened, he saw the first vision, which explained all the empires all the way to Rome. Then 2 years later, he sees this vision. And this vision, which is the later one, is still 12 years before the Medes or the Persians conquered Babylon. Gives you an idea of the prophetic accuracy of book of Daniel. It is the most absolute it's the prophecy is right on the money. Right on the money. It's the most easiest to understand. That's why so many people take issue with it. Verse 2 says, I saw in the vision, and it so happened while I was looking that I was in Shushan, the citadel, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in the vision that I was by the river Ulai. Ulai. This was one of the key scriptures that the detractors of Daniel made issues with. There is no such river in existence on the earth. And for many years, this was their primary argument that Daniel was false. Also, you might, at this time, Shushan was not the capital of Babylon. In fact, it wasn't even under their control at the time this is written. It became the capital of the Media-Persian Empire. The river Ulai, which never really existed, was found in records uncovered in this area this past century, in the 1900s, found to be a channel. It was in the mid-1900s that they found a record of this channel being dug between two rivers, and the channel was called Ulai. So when Daniel wrote it, that actually did exist, and this proved that he was right, and the naysayers, once again, were wrong. And that'll continue to happen, because I guarantee you the Word of God is accurate and perfect and right on the money. So, what did we see? I'm sorry, Selena, you look so uninterested. It's like, so? Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and there standing beside the river was a ram, which had two horns. Well, most rams have two horns, right? The two horns were high, and one was higher than the other. And the higher one came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and eastward. Southward. Can't read. So that no animal could withstand him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. It always amazes me when I'm reading these things, we'll continue in a minute, that empire that's coming up has the power that cannot be withstood. No one has the power to fight them off. They can't defend themselves from them. They can't do. And the next one that comes up is the same way against the people that couldn't be defeated before, just like Babylon. I mean, Babylon destroyed Assyria. That's almost unbelievable. But the Medes and the Persians wiped them out. So it always amazes me, those things. In verse 5, as I was considering, I would be too, suddenly a male goat came from the west across the surface of the whole earth without touching the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between its eyes, a unicorn goat. He missed the ark. Then he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing beside the river, and ran at him with furious power. And I saw him confronting the ram. He was moved with rage against him, attacked the ram, and broke his two horns. There was no power in the ram to withstand him. but he cast him down to the ground and trampled him, and there was no one that could deliver the ram from his hand. Once again, the one that couldn't be delivered, the one that nobody could defeat, the ram, is now defeated by the goat. Interesting, huh? The ram, da 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 da. You'll never guess. Who do you think the ram was? Huh? The Medes. And the Persians, too. There were the Medes and the Persians, yes. And coincidentally, because these people around that area were very, very astrology connected, if you will. You know what astrology is, right? Stay away from it. You know, you can read your horoscope. You ever wonder why they call it a horoscope? Rest my case. Incidentally, the ram is Aries. Yep. The two horns, one higher, which came up last, indicates the Persians, because the Medes were the primary. Y'all know who the Medes were? Do y'all know who some of the people of the Media Empire were? Anyone? Anybody did a lot of research on all this? Anybody read the scriptures and actually put two pieces together? Where was Media? North. North of Babylon. Babylon's in Iraq. North. If you go up far enough into the Median Empire, guess what mountain range you'll come across? I don't know. The Caspian Mountains. Who was sent there? I'll help y'all. Israel. By the Assyrians. Therefore, some of the people with the Medes were Israelites. I found that interesting when you put those together and realize. The Persians, however, who were secondary, that's why they came up second. The first two kings, when they conquered Babylon, were Medes. Darius and Cyrus and Darius. One of them freed the Jews back to go to Jerusalem. From then on, the kings were Persian. Persia took control. It was called the Persian Empire. It was the Medo-Persian Empire originally and became the Persian Empire. That's what it meant by the two horns. One came up last and was the greater. The ram pushed westward, northward, and southward. The indication is it's the only directions that he conquered. North, south, and west. It did not go east at all. Okay? The empire went west, and all that, went all the way down to Egypt and all of that, but it didn't go eastward. The goat, of course, is Greece, right? Y'all knew that, right? Right. What does it mean that the goat didn't touch the ground? It means it moved swiftly, like it didn't even touch the ground. Because the Greek conquest was the fastest of recorded history of an empire conquering other nations. The Greeks moved very, very, very quickly. Alexander, incidentally, this is interesting to me. His army was outnumbered by the Medes and the Persians 10-1. And he beat the daylights out of them. As a matter of fact, you're not going to find any other record in the history of Alexander the Great's conquest where he fought with such ferocity and just rage. The division of the goat's furious rage indicates that Alexander took vengeance on the Medes and the Persians because of the past massacre of Sparta when they wiped out the Spartans. Because Alexander was a kid when Xerxes did that. Xerxes, boy, I heard that name before. I wonder when it was. You know, you never connect. You know, when I watched all these movies when I was growing up, I went to the theater and I'd go with my quarter and walk to the theater and pay 10 cents for a ticket, a box of popcorn and a Coke, and spent my whole quarter. Huh? Xerxes. Esther was the king. I never connected Sparta and the Spartans with anything in the Bible. You know, I mean, just never made that connection in my head till I made the connection in the Bible with the movies instead. Because they stood there and fought against an unbelievable force, much, much, much larger than them, and there was nothing. They were in Macedonia, and there was nothing that they had that could even come close to fighting back against the Persians. Because by that time they were Persians, not Medes. Sure, Medes still mixed in with them, but Persia was the nation. Now, Josephus, interesting enough, I don't know if y'all ever read, did y'all have a copy of the book of Josephus? You read it, yeah. Did y'all ever have one? It is a very, 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 very interesting book. The only problem with it is you need a magnifying glass to read the stupid print. It's about that thick, and little bit tiny, tiny words. But Josephus is considered the foremost greatest historian of the Jewish people. And to give an example of his accuracy, he mentions a town, I can't remember the name of it, in his book and describes it in his book. And the archaeologists actually located it, dug it up, and when they dug it up and looked at the city, it was so identical to the description that Josephus gave that there was no question that it was the same city. That's how accurate his historical record was. He's an outstanding historian and some very, very interesting facts. You want to know what really went on between the resurrection of Christ and AD 70 and the destruction of Jerusalem? Read some of Josephus, because he gives you some details about the fighting that was going on in Israel between the Jews, some siding with the Romans and the others against them. Anyway, interesting read. But anyway, he recorded, Josephus did, that when Alexander passed through Israel to conquer Egypt, notice he didn't say to conquer Israel. Alexander didn't do that. He passed through Israel to go to Egypt, to conquer Egypt. The priest sent messages to meet him under a flag of truce and informed him that a prophecy was given 200 years before that he would do what he was doing. I don't know if he became a believer or not, but he did believe himself to be invincible. I think I mentioned that last week. He never sent his troops into battle. He led them. He always went in front of them. He thought that he was invincible. He was in front for every battle and was never hurt, never wounded. Actually thought he was a god. Found out he wasn't because he died very young. But anyway, I think that's probably why he didn't conquer or kill any of the Jews, because the priest did go out with a flag of truce to tell him he had been prophesied over. Kind of like Darius was when they sent messages to him that he had been prophesied several hundred years before that he would be a king who would release the Jews. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, Isaiah wrote that. Anyway, where am I here? Oh yeah, I told you all this too before. He was a benevolent conqueror who defeated the armies, but who won the people. He conquered the armies, but he won the people because of his benevolence. He created the common Greek language by taking the 5 dialects of Greek and creating only one. If you go back and study his beginning of his empire, Greece was divided into 5 groups or sects, if you will. Their language, dialect was different. Everything was a little bit different, and they never would agree with anything. He unified them. He combined them and made the common Greek language. Now, God used him to do this for his purpose. What occurred, y'all? The Rome was in charge of the world, the Roman Empire. The only people who spoke Latin were government people. The people spoke common Greek. Greek was the common language everywhere. In the Jews, in the Romans, everywhere, Greek was a common language. That's when Jesus came upon the earth. If you can't see how God unfolded everything so that we would have a common language to pass the gospel through. You can understand, you remember when Jesus said if you're compelled to go 1 mile, because there was a rule that if a soldier compelled you to carry his armor, you had to carry it a mile. You couldn't refuse him. And Jesus said, carry it 2. And they would do that. And while they're doing that, they would talk to the soldier because they both spoke Greek and tell him about Jesus. Some of the biggest evangelists, some of the most evangelical work was done by the Roman soldiers who heard from the people that were compelled to carry their armor and told other people about it. God uses every detail. And the more I read, the more I study this, the more intrigued I am at the minuteness of his plans. And he shows us. He lays it out where you can actually see it, but it takes time to I got a book about the gold nuggets of the scripture. You got to dig a lot of dirt to get to the gold nugget. But boy, it's worth it when you get there. And you see, oh my goodness, look how this connects to this. Wow. And look, 1,000 years before. Anyway, shut up. Okay. Let me shut up. I'm not going to say no more. Where'd I stop at? Heaven. Oh, yeah. Okay, but it's the host. The stars around. Oh, we're going to go. Where am I? Oh, I'm reading the wrong place here, huh? Yeah, he thought he was a god. He was a benevolent conqueror. Yeah. This language was adopted throughout the entire world. Even Rome did not overcome the Greek language and culture. Latin was only spoken by the government. I said all that. And this is primarily when you realize this, because the Gospels, all these things were written in Greek, all the stuff that was written in Greek, because the Greek culture so oppressed the Jewish people that the Council of Jamnia, they took everything out of their Bible that was written in Greek to rid themselves of the Greek culture. The Greek culture still permeates most of the world today. Anyway, it didn't help. Verse 8. Comments, shoes, coffee cups, questions? Therefore, I love those words. Because of all that, the male goat grew very great. We're still in our vision now. But when he became strong, the large horn was broken, and in place of it, 4 notable ones came up toward the four winds of heaven. And out of one of them came a little horn, which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land. And it grew up to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host of heaven, and some of the stars to the ground, and trampled them. He even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices were taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Because of transgression, an army was given over to the horn to oppose the daily sacrifices, and he cast truth down to the ground. He did all this and prospered. Boy, that is a confusing 4 verses of Scripture. And I'm going to give you both directions of the confusion, okay? Always do that. I like to give you dispensations. You know what dispensations are, right? Had a couple of them for breakfast. Had 2 dispensations with butter. Could learn to hate a guy like me, you know that? But let's get to him. When Alexander died, his empire did not go to his offspring. It went to his 4 generals. Cassander went to Macedonia, actually Greece. Lysimachus went to Asia Minor. That's where Paul spent a lot of time when he couldn't go to Asia. Ptolemy went to Egypt. And Seleucus went to Syria. Now Ptolemy and Seleucus, that's Egypt and Syria, became prominent and began to battle with each other. This caused them to enter and destroy the Holy Land and Jerusalem. The little horns, I'm going to get to the classical interpretation after this. The little horn is Antiochus Epiphanes, or Epiphanes. Y'all ever heard that name, Antiochus Epiphanes? Very significant name. If you really want to know about all that, find you a Catholic Bible and go read 1st and 2nd Maccabees. And you'll understand what it did to the Jews and what prompted that war. Anyway, who came out of Syria to persecute the Jews and profane the temple in 171 to 164 BC. He is the abomination of desolation that Jesus speaks of in the 24th chapter of Matthew. When you see the desolation or the abomination in the temple as Daniel recorded, then know. Because that's what the Antichrist is going to do. The same thing that Antiochus Epiphanes did, went into the temple. I think the way I read it one time is, sacrificed a swine in the temple, which of course is an abomination, and proclaimed himself God. All right? He is a type of the Antichrist of the last days, which is what brings you to the classical. This is the, I forgot the name of it. Don't matter. The classical interpretation of that particular scripture identifies the little horn as the one mentioned in chapter 7 from the 4th kingdom. You remember chapter 7? The 4th kingdom, the little horn was the Antichrist. Y'all remember that? Y'all wasn't here. It's in your notes. Am I confused? Am I going too fast? I don't want to lose you, and I don't want to confuse you. Because in chapter 7, he spoke of the 4th kingdom in his vision. Chapter 8 does not have the 4th kingdom in the vision at all. It doesn't even have the 1st kingdom, which was Babylon. because it already was in existence. It had the two that was coming after it, the Medes and the Persians, followed by the Greeks. But it did not go into the fourth empire, which was Rome. The Antichrist came from Rome, not from the Persians. That's why the classical interpretation says, well, this just threw in the Antichrist right there. I mean, sometimes, I know I'm confusing y'all. Sometimes in the scriptures, in one paragraph, it's talking about something that's happening soon in Israel, and the next verse talks about the end times and something that's going to happen in the end, and then goes back to what's going on in Israel. And it's not easy to catch, right? Sometimes you read it and you bet, wait, it don't seem like it matches or jives. And you got to go and study it out, and you realize, wait a minute, that verse pertains to the end, not to this that he's prophet. You find that in Isaiah a lot. A lot of Isaiah jumps hundreds of years in one chapter with some of the things it's writing. I mean, when you say, you need a sign, King, you need a sign from God. I'm not going to tempt God by asking him for a sign. They say, you're going to upset God? You're going to insult God? I'll give you the sign anyway. The virgin shall be with child and shall bear a son, and you shall call him Emmanuel. Did that have anything to do with that king and what was going on then? Absolutely not. That was Jesus. Boy, you got a bing, but why did you put this here? That's a complicated chapter of Scripture. Very, very. I never sat down to really get into that chapter, because what follows it doesn't pertain to what it should. But that's another story. Well, maybe we'll study that one chapter one time. I get into these things. I don't know if y'all do or not. Well, you're stuck now anyway, so you're too polite to walk out. That's right. That's what it is. The classical interpretation identifies, later on mentioned in chapter 7, the fourth kingdom, Rome, as the Antichrist. The dispensational interpretation identifies him as Antiochus Epiphanes. The stars, according to the dispensational interpretation, the stars are God's people. Anybody got a Bible? And they open close? Genesis 15:5. Open that up. Because I didn't write it down here, but you can read it. It's God talking to Abraham. Yeah. You want the microphone?
No,
You? What?
And these things the word of the Lord came to Abram in his vision, saying, do not fear, Abram, I am a shield to you. Your reward shall be very great. And Abram said, O Lord God, what wilt thou give me, since I am childless, and an heir of the house of Esnor of Damascus? And Abram said, since thou hast given no offspring to me, one born of the house in my heir, then behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, this man will not be your heir, but one who shall come forth from your own body, he shall be your heir. And he said, and took outside and said, now look toward the heavens and count, and said him, you shall your descendants be. And then he believed in the Lord, and he reckoned to him as righteousness.
You get the connection? See the stars in the sky? So shall your descendants be. Dispensational view sees that as the descendants, not the stars are God's people, in other words, not the stars that, because if you go in there in the book of Revelation, when the devil is cast out, he brings, not to be mixed up with that.
Doesn't it refer to the grains of sand in some place too?
What?
That it would be
the grains of sand.
Yeah, comparable to the amount of his children, his ancestors.
Yeah,
It couldn't be counted. There was too many to
yeah, it was
count.
too many. Well, I know in Psalm 139, you're talking about God's thoughts toward you number more than the sand. Yeah. And you can't count sand.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't count the stars either. But, mm, 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 mm. Okay, being attacked by Antiochus, who lifted himself high as up all the way up to heaven, and ordered the end of the Jews' sacrifice to God, and erected a pagan idol in the temple, which was an abomination. And just an offshoot, serendipity, if you like. I like serendipities. Judas Maccabees was a Jewish priest, not in Jerusalem, in some other city. And the Greeks under Antiochus Epiphanes came over there and told him to sacrifice a pig on the altar. That he was ordered to do it. And he refused. So they said, you either do it or you will be killed. So he fought with them, took their sword, and killed them instead. And that's how the Maccabean War started. That's why it's called the Maccabean Wars. Judas Maccabees was the priest that said, I'm not putting up with this. You know, if it doesn't do anything else for you, Book of Maccabees ought to remind you, it may be a difficult battle, but when someone comes against Almighty God, I don't care how much the odds are against you, if you stand up for God, He will stand up for you. And He will turn it around. He turned it around in the Book of Maccabees. Okay, let's see, where am I now? Oh yes, moving on. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to a certain one who was speaking, how long will the vision be concerning the daily sacrifices and the transgressions of desolation, the giving of both the sanctuary and the host to be trampled underfoot? That's a good question. How long is this going to go on, Lord? How long will the enemy of God be able to do this? And he said to me, for 1,300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. Huh? 2,000. What I said, 1,000? Yeah, I'm sorry. 2,300 days. That don't jive. If you go study it out. No, that's the number written in the Bible, just like I read it. But when you study it out, it don't jive. Here's why. It is believed that the number pertains to 1,150 morning sacrifices and 1,150 evening sacrifices that were eliminated before the temple could be fully reclaimed for the worship of God, which made 2,300. Okay? Because they had a morning and a daily sacrifice. Interestingly enough, when this was done, this is not part of my notes, this is another serendipity. When this occurred and that temple was cleansed, a new feast day was added, which Jesus celebrated in Jerusalem and even spoke to the crowds, which is not to be found anywhere in your Bible. It's only found in the book of Maccabees. It's the Feast of Lights, or Hanukkah. That's when they went to light the lamp in the temple. You couldn't put just any oil in the lamp, right? It had to be special oil. It couldn't be oil from crushed olives, because crushed olives would leave the residue of the olive in it. They could be squeezed, but you couldn't crush the tissue because the oil had to be pure. They had enough oil, so it goes. And there's a lot of, you can read several different articles in several different books that give you several different versions of what actually happened. But the soul story goes, they had enough oil for one day. And they put it in oil and lit the lamp in the temple, and it burned for 7 days with 1 day's oil, which was vis-a-vis the Feast of Lights, or Hanukkah. I thought it was interesting. I don't know. Interesting. What's interesting to me about it is that Jesus celebrated that feast day in Jerusalem, and it's not found in the Protestant Bible, but it is found in the Catholic Bible, which means that there's some validity to those 7 books. They may not be canonical, not even the Catholic Church recognizes them as canonical books, but they do recognize them as have validity and historical, especially Maccabees. They're historical books. An interesting read. And I always said my favorite scripture was in Sirach. Yeah. Sirach chapter 1 verse 2. Or that's chapter 2 verse 1. My son, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for trouble, for problems, for trials. I said, boy, is that ever true? You come to serve the Lord, huh? It's in Sirach, chapter 2, verse 1, I believe. My son, if you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for trials. Okay. Then it happened when I, Daniel, had seen the vision and was seeking the meaning, that suddenly there stood before me one having the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell on my face. But he said to me, understand, son of man, that the vision refers to the time of the end. Now, as he was speaking to me, I was in deep sleep with my face to the ground, but he touched me and stood me upright, and he said, look, I am making known to you what shall happen in the latter time of the indignation. For at the appointed time the end shall be. The ram which you saw having the 2 horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia. And the male goat is the kingdom of Greece. The large horn that is between its eyes is the first king. As for the broken horn and the 4 that stood up in its place, 4 kingdoms shall arise out of that nation, but not with its power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, I got that underlined. We're going to get into that in some other chapters when we get into the most confusing chapter. In the later time of their kingdom, because Antiochus Epiphanes was not the first king of the Syrian section of the Greek Empire, okay? As a matter of fact, we can get in there, we'll dig up, you even find Cleopatra in the mix from Egypt. Yeah. When the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy fearfully, he shall prosper and thrive, he shall destroy the mighty and also the holy people through his cunning. Hold that spot right there. How is the Antichrist going to come to power? With a big, strong army and power and force and atomic weapons? No. Cunning. He's going to he is going to con you into believing he's giving you exactly what you want. He's a Mandani for the New Yorkers. Yeah. Through his cunning. He shall cause deceit to prosper under his rule, He shall exalt himself in his heart, shall destroy many in his prosperity. He shall rise against the prince of princes. He shall be broken without human means. And the vision of the evening and the mornings, which was told, is true. Therefore, seal up the vision, for it refers to the many days in the future. Notice that the vision of the evenings and the mornings, go back to the 2,300 days, 1,150 morning sacrifices, 1,150 evening sacrifices. Therefore, seal up the vision, for it refers to many days in the future. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick for days afterward. I arose and went about the king's business. I was astonished by the vision, but no one understood it. Antiochus, incidentally, did not die in battle. He was not assassinated. He was not killed. His life was taken by God. And he just wandered off. Kind of like Sennacherib. Y'all remember Sennacherib? Who? Yeah, you know Sennacherib sent to Rabshakeh. Oh, we're going to destroy this city. You don't like that. You don't think your God's going to stop Sennacherib, do you? He was the Syrian king. And Isaiah, if you read that in the book of Kings, you can read it again in the book of Isaiah. Verbatim. What Isaiah, the prophecy he gave and all. And Sennacherib, something happened that made him think he had to go back because somebody else was attacking. He went back to Babylon. Well, to Nineveh, not Babylon. And his sons killed him in the temple. When God moves you, baby, he moves you out. And that's what he did with Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus was a horrible, as we will see in later chapters, individual, and the things he did in Judah, well, in Israel. Well, I get my head on right. Judah mostly, because Israel didn't exist anymore. You realize that. I gotta think myself sometime, get my time frame right. We're talking about Daniel who's in Babylon, right? That means Israel's already been destroyed and taken off by Assyria. They don't exist anymore. Matter of fact, they're part of the Medes that came back to conquer. So when Antiochus Epiphanes came through Judah, because what was left of Israel was now what we knew as the Samaritans, who were, of course, everybody knows the Samaritans were Jews that weren't practicing Judaism, right? No. There were people from other nations moved there by the Assyrians into what was Israel, and they tried to do the Jewish or the Israelite religion, but they didn't know how. So they were all mixed up in what they did. That's why the Jews hated the Samaritans and vice versa, because they couldn't be. It's kind of like us and the Muslims. I'm not going to pray with a Muslim. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not worshiping the devil with anybody. And that's what all that, huh? Well, the Persians, yeah, they, remember the woman at the well talking to Jesus? Yeah, we worship over here, but y'all say we got to worship in Jerusalem. You know, so what's the matter with y'all? We can't worship anywhere? We can only worship God in Jerusalem? Well, of course, God said, you know, neither here or in Jerusalem, but in the Spirit. And, well, yeah, they were far off. They weren't anywhere near at all in their understanding. In the time of Jesus, however, you got to understand, it's real slow moving, but written so fast you don't follow through. By the time of Jesus, in what was then the Samaritan territories, there were a lot of Jews. Nazareth, Why I can't think. Bethlehem's in Judah, right outside of Jerusalem. Oh, for crying out loud, I can't remember. Capernaum, all those places in, Galilee. Throughout Galilee were Jews. There was Samaritans there too, but it was just like it is now. If you've been to Israel, if your tour guide is pretty good, of course, after a while, you don't need the tour guide to tell you anymore. As your bus passes through a Jewish village, Jews live here. You can tell by looking at it. You pass in through a Samaritan village or a Palestinian, if you will. Nobody has to tell you. You know it. It's amazing when you go into shops. You remember when we were shopping? You go in the Jewish section and beautiful. Everything is clean and neat and nice, and it's just, it's like you walk through a veil, and it all disappears. What is this? This is the Palestinians. Look like Thieves Alley in Yokosuka, Japan. Totally different. They still, in other words, live apart, even though they're together. In Jerusalem, they're all mixed up in there. But in most of the outlying areas, they're in different villages. They work together, they do all that stuff together, but they don't coexist with one another. Interesting. You could spend years studying just that, but then you'd waste all your time because you wouldn't be able to study the other stuff. That's important. Boy, shut up. Okay, I'm shut up. Questions? Shoes? Make any sense? Huh? Oh, you could throw your flags, yeah. Don't throw a spear. I'll do like David and dodge it. That's still a short synopsis of the chapter, trust me. It is. What'd you say? Yeah. The one I gave away, because I got so tired of it, I had 8 1-hour CDs, DVDs on it, and it was extremely more involved than this. Yes, sir.
All the people we know as Jews today,
Yeah.
the same Jews of that time.
Well, the term Jews was not used until they came back from Babylon, or in Babylon. The only fun thing I find on it, and I'll get arguments from Jewish people about it, it was a term that they attached to them, Jews, because they were Judah. Now, they weren't all from the tribe of Judah. There were Benjamites, there were Levites, there were several other tribes who chose to live in Judah rather than Israel. Of course, the Levites would because the temple was there. But Judah was the nation that was conquered, so they called them Jews. Kind of like they call Americans Yankees. We're not Yankees, we from the South, but British don't care. Yankees, that's what we are. And it was actually an insulting slang that came from one of the up around Norway and those places, Netherlands, that coined the phrase Yankee. It was actually an insult. Well, we just took it kind of like what they call us down here, Cajuns. They got another name for us too. Yeah. But I'm going to use that one. Yeah. But that's what it was. They weren't called Jews before that. They were Israelites. They were Hebrews, Judahites. They were from the tribe of Judah. I remember telling a Jewish little girl, a Messianic Jew that used to come teach her. She's in New Jersey now. We was talking after lunch one time and talking about the Israelites, and I said, well, you know, all Jews are Israelites, but not all Israelites are Jews. And she said, of course they are. I said, no, they're not. That's a term that came from the captivity in Babylon. They weren't called. Yeah, well, today, but still, you could be from the tribe of Issachar, and you're an Israelite. But well, that's my opinion. I can't substantiate. I can't give you the book to go look this up. All I know is you find the word Jew in the Bible before you get to Daniel. You're not going to find it. They're Hebrew people. They're Israelites. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're the same people today.
The reason I ask is the color of the people. The color of most of the people now are light-skinned. Or they light-skinned back in the days.
Well, they were, I wouldn't call them extremely light-skinned. They were darker than, but you got to watch. Huh? I've seen black people with freckles. So yeah, they could get freckles. Excuse me, darker people that drink coffee. Not like you. He don't drink coffee because it makes him dark. I told him put some cream in it, but it don't help. Sheesh, what are the things we get into in a Bible study, huh? Let's just take Iran, for example. Iranians. They're a group you can put. Philistines. The Philistines you read about in the Old Testament. Always fighting with the Jews. Always fighting with Israel. They weren't Arabs. They didn't even come from the Arab nations. They came from across the Mediterranean Sea. Iranians were not Arabs either. Neither were the Persians. Confusing yet? Races of people. I mentioned that after you walked away when we were talking in the back. When you talked about the coffee, you didn't want to drink it because it makes you dark. I was telling somebody, I said, you know what my daddy's nickname was when we used to build houses? And listen, there are people that never knew his name. His name, they call him Black because he was so dark. They call it, huh? Yeah. Bad nickname. But the point is, there are light-skinned Jews or Israelites, and they are dark-skinned. The shade of the complexion changes. I mean, you can look at Indian nations and see differences in a single Indian nation in the darkness of their skin and the lightness of their skin. In every race. In fact, the only race of people I've seen, of course I haven't been all over the world, the Aborigines are the most unique to me. Because they all, everyone that I've seen, their complexion is almost identical. They are very unique as a people.
They're probably purer than those.
They're probably what?
Purer.
They probably are. They probably are. Because until the Europeans got to Australia, there wasn't anything else there. And they never commingled. Probably still don't. I don't know. But sooner or later, if God let the world go on for a couple more thousand years, and all the races keep doing what they're doing, we're going to all be pretty much the same shade. We're going to take the dark away from the dark and the light away from the light and make something in between.
There upon a
Well, that's better than being tutti frutti.
Well, that was Rudy.
That would be all colors, yeah. Red, green, blue, white, purple. I don't know how to call Indians red. I don't see no red in their skin, but I don't see yellow in the Asians either. The Asians are a perfect example also. You look at Asians, can you look at a Chinese person next to a Japanese person and tell the difference? I can. I can. Japanese people don't look like the Chinese. They look different.
But you work with those.
Well, yeah, I did. I spent a lot of time in the Far East. Yeah. And you got to be careful with Chinese because they have cults and they have linguistic differences, and you don't want to call one of them what they're not. Just like the Greeks were once 5 different dialects, Chinese have dialects also. Don't you call a Chinese a Cantonese. Boy, they will flat get mad. It's like calling an Aussie a limey. They didn't like that. Them Australian sailors, they didn't like that at all. No. But anyway, I hope I managed to bore y'all enough for y'all to be able to sleep tonight. Joshua, did you turn us off yet? Oh my goodness gracious. Good night, y'all. Hope I bored y'all enough to go to sleep too. Thank y'all for tuning in. We